Welcome to Running It Back, the Lessons Learned from Sports podcast. Mike Palmer here, joined as always by Tarlin Ray. This happens to be our 54th episode, which in Roman times would be our LIV episode. Therefore, this will be our LIV Golf episode. Tarlin,
Boo.
how are you doing? You're not booing yourself. That was just you were booing LIV Golf.
I may have been booing you. Hey, how are you?
Good
I
morning.
know you're a little sick.
I'm
think I
all
got-
good. All
I
good.
can't get rid of this LA frog, early morning frog in my throat.
Mm.
Before we get to live LIV,
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about underdogs for a second.
Yeah.
I've always loved sports movies. We all love the underdog story.
Just to be clear, you're not talking about underdog, here I come to save the day. That's Mighty Mouse, but the cartoon guy.
You're
Not
definitely
talk-
aging yourself.
not
No
talking
one,
about that
no one
underdog.
knows. No one
Un-
knows.
Underdog
I'm
is pretty
absolutely
good.
not.
That
And I'm not also talking about underdog sports where you can do all of your gambling.
That's true. And I did see the Tim Donaghy story Untold on Netflix. It's called Flagrant Foul. It was pretty interesting. Just talk about some gambling dudes.
I feel like there's a lot of you in my opening right now. You gonna
It's
let me
not
go?
your opening, it's our program, Tarlin. And your opening, you mentioned underdog. Just want to shout out underdog and Hong Kong Phooey. Please continue.
And my dog, we had a dog, got it from the pound, and only had that dog for a week because the dog cried the whole time. But my sister named it Touche. For those who remember the swashbuckling turtle and had its sword, touche away. So we can go deep into the only, we had 9 stations growing up. And
This is
so
a pop culture spinoff show. We need to
in about
put a pin in that.
10 minutes, we would be in front of the Saturday morning cartoons because that's the only thing to watch.
That
Anyways,
is true.
we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
The underdog story. And there's movies about it, Rudy and others. And I had a chance to experience in person my own underdog story, not mine, but see an underdog story unfold. So went to the Lakers, and I'm putting myself in a tough position because I'm mentioning a team that's 2-10.
Yeah.
And your Knicks are actually ahead of us. So I'm ready for the lashing. But I went to a Laker game.
Blood in the Garden, also excellent. Audiobook on Audible, Chris Herring's book on the Riley Knicks, the Patrick Ewing Knicks, John Starks. Must listen. I can't get Tarlin to listen to it, but if he does, that will be a subsequent episode.
Oh, no, I'm going next.
All right, cool.
I may never finish this. So, underdog story. Lakers, hot mess. Westbrook is finally coming off the bench. They're playing in New Orleans Pelicans. We have, my buddy invites Fierce to the game. They have really good seats. So we're sitting.
And we're recording this just real quick. I'm on the record saying 6th man of the year and comeback player of the year, Russell Westbrook.
Whoa, hey, Wes, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. So all this reading about Anthony Mason makes me think about bricklayers.
Yeah,
please continue.
So at the game, we are a couple rows. So there's the Laker bench. We're not in those primetime seats right behind the stanchion, but there's an aisle and we're just 2 rows up. So we're staring at the Laker bench. You can see, for those who have not noticed LeBron on the bench, his seat is like 4 times higher than everyone else. It's like he literally sits on a throne. I don't know if it's like a slight massage chair. He like pats everyone on the head. But anyways, the starting lineup, I only knew 2 of the guys. So we're just sitting there like, who are these people?
Yeah.
And then halfway through the first half, someone, not Matt Ryan of the now benched Indianapolis coach, but Matt Ryan.
Not the QB1, now QB2? QB3.
QB3.
Yeah.
QB3, just taking a check and holding a clipboard for the now head coach, Jeff Saturday.
Right. And we happen to be recording this on Saturday.
But we must come back to the head coach problem in the NFL.
That's good. We're never actually going to talk about golf, which is good. I think our listeners will appreciate that.
Well, this is why I booed you a little bit at the beginning. So the underdog story. Halfway through the first half, a dude named Matt Ryan comes in, and we were all like, who is this dude now? And he hit a 3. Really, I mean, he was, I wouldn't call him a 3-and-D guy, but his 3, and it even forced me at halftime to say, who is this guy? Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Graduated from Chattanooga, but before that, played at Vanderbilt. Before that, first went to Notre Dame. When he graduated Chattanooga, 15.4 points, 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
Shot about 42% from the field, 2-point, and it was okay, 3-point shooter.
What kind of 3-point percentage in college are we talking about here?
That'll be 35.9%.
Oh, that's actually bad in college.
It's
Okay.
not great.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not
So-
that's not shooters percentage.
He's not
Yeah.
shoot. I wouldn't say at
Yeah.
that point, he's not a shooter.
Yeah.
2020 graduates, not drafted. It's the COVID year. It's tough. And he is
Right.
a DoorDash and Uber Eats driver.
Nice.
2021, he makes it into the G League, Grand Rapids, 15.8
Just
points.
quick point of clarification. Is he on like an e-bike or is he in his, because around here they're on the e-bikes. It might make him in better shape. So I'm just
Remember, this
curious.
is 2020.
So is it a
he's-
car?
he's
And it's
he's
also like
driving a
LA,
car.
it's LA maybe,
Yeah.
Tennessee.
We have
whatever. It's not-
hovercrafts here. They
Yeah,
like to do Lime scooters, bird scooters when they deliver. I want you to bird up my hill. 'Cause otherwise, I don't want you in a car. That's a waste of time.
Right.
Because that's another business model that makes a ton of sense. Let's get to bird and Lime scooters later.
Yeah.
Grand Rapids, 2021. He makes the G League affiliate for Boston, balls out a little bit, actually plays in one game. I'm not sure if he's on the roster. He's just in the general Boston
Yeah.
orbit when they
Yeah.
make their run to the championship, and he gets to meet Ime Udoka. Different story. I won't even bring anything up there.
Right.
Separate. He then plays in the Boston Summer League, gets invited to LA training camp.
Yeah.
Just invite. And he makes the team.
Right.
No.
Does
So-
this have a little Linsanity to it? There's a little
No,
whiff.
it's
There's
just
a whiff.
it's
Just the faintest.
It's going to be one game. I'm just going to talk about one game because
Yeah. That might
if
be
you
it.
want to look,
You mentioned Rudy. It's a little more the one shot hero's
100%.
tale kind of vibe. Yeah. Eminem. Yeah. 8 Mile. I got you.
So-
you dressed a little bit like there's an 8 Mile vibe.
For those who
to
can
the
see,
hat.
we'll send a pic.
Yeah.
Those who are interested, maybe we'll post that on our next social post. So Matt Ryan, he makes a shot, but he misses a couple shots. You see, he's really down on himself. So at halftime, everyone goes in. He is the first one out. He is the only one out for an extra 7 to 8 minutes, and he's in a full lather. He's doing high knees. And for those who know Russell Wilson, when he was hurt, he spent 4 hours of 8 hours flight supposedly doing high knees.
Yes.
I don't think this guy can clown himself anymore.
my
He should
God.
just stop talking.
If he-
Try
Just imagine having an aisle seat while that dude
next to I would
you're
trip
trying
him.
to sleep.
I would trip him.
and the
QB1.
guy's just
What happened?
QB1 is training so
my-
hard
My,
that he
my
keeps
teammates
bumping
hate me
my
so much, they
elbow.
they
That would be
tripped me.
bad. That would be
They
very bad.
tripped me. So he's in a full hour, and we're talking about like this dude's working so hard. Pat Bev never gets off the bench to do anything.
Yeah.
Russ Westbrook, they're just sort of hanging out. So like we were making a joke. That's the stay ready guy.
Yeah.
Lakers up. They actually start to lose the lead, and we end up down 3.
Yeah.
Down 3, and we foul someone. So they're going to make those
Yeah.
at least one. And so we walk up from our seats.
Wow. Okay.
We're like, I'm that early LA guy. Like, oh, it's gonna be so much
but
traffic.
you're also you're walking slow enough, and you're
No, we're looking back.
Yeah.
We're looking back, but still, remember where our seats are. We are staring at the Laker bench.
right.
Like just
Totally.
stone's throw. I can hear them
Right.
whispering. Diane Cannon, sit down.
When do I go to LA?
Never.
When Lakers tickets are so affordable that it actually makes sense for me to go? That's my question.
As I said,
Just
I
the
set myself up for
price
this. This is not a
index.
conversation about the Lakers.
Like Bitcoin versus Lakers seats. I don't know which one's.
Well,
gonna
it's called
bottom out.
crypto.com. There's only
That's
7
right.
more minutes that it's going to be called that since FTX is no longer the name of the arena in Miami.
Which is another
We
show.
got so many,
oh my
we got
God.
so many shows. Put a pin in it. Everyone,
Yeah.
who's keeping notes? Who's our note taker?
That'd be
today?
Nancy. Nancy, our virtual
Nancy,
co-host.
thank you. We fired Peter.
Hang on. Did you get that, Nancy?
I got it, Mike.
Nancy got it.
I don't like your tone, Nancy. We'll follow up about that.
So Peter was the worst. I like Nancy, so
Sure.
lay off.
Sure,
Peter
sure.
was the worst.
Sure.
So couldn't even Google. So we're halfway up. We're literally about to leave. We hear first brick free throw, and you're like, oh, let me.
Who's
Pull
shooting the
back.
free throws? Was it a decent free throw shooter?
It was a guard on
Okay,
New Orleans
so someone
Pelicans.
who should be
Never,
on there,
not part of this origin story.
should
Who
be
no-
on there
who
to
never,
hit the free throws, though.
absolutely,
Matt Ryan would hit those free throws.
100%. Then he misses the second. So we're like, oh, and so we don't go back down. We're like, oh, we might as well watch.
Defensive rebound timeout.
Defensive rebound timeout.
Okay. Shout out to Darvin Ham.
Oh, then he inserts Matt Ryan into the game.
Oh, Darvin Ham. Next level move. 3D chess.
Puts Austin Reeves. Used to be AR-15. He appropriately has changed his name. Does not like going by that moniker.
That's like Kirilenko, too, back in the day. It's a little named after a gun. Nah, sorry.
Yes. AK-47. There you go. There's a lot of deep cuts and
This is a new
old.
format. We're
That's why we call it
experimenting with
running.
a
That's why we
slightly different. We're
call it
testing what
running.
live might be.
Call it running
Let
it
us
back.
know what you think.
Let us know
Yeah.
what you think. So then he sets to the plate. There's a lot of action. You got LeBron, you got AD. People are going in different directions, and they set to throw across court into the deep corner
Yeah.
for Matt Ryan to make a catch,
Yeah.
get his puppies down, and shoot.
Is this little, it's like Leitner, but a 3?
Yes. But they ran. They
So was it
ran a
from under
play.
their, no, it was from
So
the
he's on
inbound
the
was from
he's on
the,
they're on the inbounds from the opposite side of the court, next to half court.
okay, but
They're
it's half
throwing it
court and they're
cross
throwing it
court,
across.
cross court to the deep corner,
Feathery,
across the totally
feathery
other side.
touch, feathery touch. This
So
is kind of like the other Matt Ryan almost
Oh,
level
yeah.
of touch.
Austin
to
Reeves,
pass.
it's a money shot, 2-hand over his head,
Mm.
multiple pick set.
He passed
Matt
it
Ryan,
2 hands over his head,
yes.
kind of like a
Matt Ryan,
soccer
oh yeah,
throw-in
oh, it's a throw in.
with a feathery touch.
Oh yeah, Matt Ryan. You see him catch the ball. He looks down.
How much time?
1.5,
Nice.
1.7.
Okay.
Looks down.
Little gather.
Fade away 3. Money.
And you were, how many rows up are you by this point?
Oh, we're 55 rows up.
Are you running back down the?
Oh,
what
wait,
are
they
you doing?
hit,
Is it
he hit
bedlam?
it, and
Yeah.
we ran back down to get in our seats. And they're like, "Oh, these are our seats." Like, no, these are our seats. We left. We went back to watch them win in overtime.
Oh,
And
right.
so I
'Cause that was
finally,
just to tie the game. That's
that was
amazing.
just to
So
tie the game.
then you get to celebrate for overtime. That's awesome.
Correct. And then so I caught video
Oh,
of
yeah.
3 frames of Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
The point of this whole story.
So you saw that, and then it's like Zapruder film, right? Then you're running back down,
Exactly.
but it's at the buzzer, and everybody knew it was in, so you knew it was overtime.
And then the Lakers went on to win the game.
That's awesome.
So the underdog story.
Yeah.
He knew what his job was.
Stay ready.
He barely made the Lakers.
Yeah.
Maybe this is his only cup of coffee,
Mm-hmm.
but he is working his butt off
Yeah.
on his craft, because you never know. The fact that the Lakers 3-point shooting is so bad that your guy is
Yeah.
not Michael Jordan. It's
Right.
not a Kobe shot.
No.
You're going to set up a play, Garvingham, tons of courage there for Matt Ryan. So we always celebrate the iconic CEOs and the folks that started a company, and everything looks so easy.
Right.
But you never look at the work that happens. The guy was in basketball doldrums. He was playing pickup out in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And now he made a game-winning shot for the Lakers. He may only play 1 year, but you can never take that from him.
Yeah.
And those are the stories you want to prop up for your kids, for everyone, because things don't come easy, but don't give up. So that was the longest 15 minutes.
Yeah, but it was
to
kind
get
of
out
like an
my
old thing.
underdog
We were able
story.
to talk about other stuff. We're getting comfortable with the conversational flow. The play reminds me a little, just running it back, even though I didn't see the Matt Ryan, it reminds me, it's a little bit Pete Myers to Tony Kukoc while Scotty's sitting out, play design, except further in the corner, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Yeah, but Tony was dead on, head on to the basket,
I
not
think he
the
might have been
corner.
a little bit to the left of the top.
But
of
this
Pete.
is literally the corner.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Even better than Pete Myers, which is something
I almost choked on my coffee.
Pete Myers also demonstrating
jokes.
that get ready.
Pete
guy.
Myers, another story of just the guy he should not have even been in the league, and he fought his way back into the league.
John
Now,
Starks.
It helped that Jordan retired and they needed a shooting guard. But
John Starks, Anthony Mason, in God's hands. Anthony Mason.
how many Knicks references are you going to make in this podcast?
Are you ready to talk some golf? Let's talk some golf. There's a new golf league. This is our 54th episode. LIV Golf. CEO Greg Norman. Is he embroiled? There's something going on. There's news leaking that he may be leaving his role, but the Shark is the CEO. The money is Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud's money, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, associated with the Jamal Khashoggi incident. We'll talk a little bit about washing and sports watching. Turns out we're going to talk about both of those things. There's a new spin-off rival league in professional golf, men's golf. The money is coming in from Saudi Arabia. Greg Norman is leading the effort with others. Donald Trump's involved to some extent.
Trump's
Since,
involvement is they're just playing tournaments on his courses, where the
and
PGA won't play anymore after
yeah,
January
there's a
6th. So
schism. There's a schism happening.
schism at Checkham. I still remember that from history. Go on.
Yeah. Pope and Avignon. See, like we're hitting on all cylinders, Tarlin. We're not fooling around. But the issue is there's a spin-off league. Money's coming in from a tainted source, human rights abuses, the Saudi government. There's a history of sports washing. I saw it dating back at least to the 1936 Olympics, which were sponsored by Germany, which was an opportunity for them to kind of validate a lot of what Hitler was doing at the time. There you go. We made it to a Hitler reference.
China Olympics.
China Olympics. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the World Cup's about to start in Qatar. Did I pronounce that correctly?
I was waiting to see what she did. It's a good wordle. That's a good wordle. I don't know.
I don't think the
no,
proper
no
nouns.
use.
I don't think the proper nouns count.
I know
But
they don't. But they now have an editor for Wordle. Just so
Oh.
everyone be careful.
Geordle, like a geography wordle, where they're all 5-letter geography words. Come at me. I'm a brilliant idea guy. What are your thoughts on LIV? I also know you're a Tiger guy. Tiger is very clearly against this movement. He and Rory are butting up in interesting ways as for some of the leadership on the traditional tour. And then the heels, if this were pro wrestling, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, cashing in a little bit on that sweet, sweet LIV cash. What are your thoughts?
Why don't we talk about us? Because you
Yeah.
said sports watching. Why start a new sport? Because there's an opening in the market, there's a pain point, there's a need that's not being filled, there's a new way to consume a sport. And at the end of the day, it's entertainment for us. So are we going to watch? Are we going to watch it on TV? Are we going to consume it online?
Mhm.
Or are we going to go pay and see it in person?
Or are we going to struggle to find it on Amazon and then have trouble with the feed? Thanks, Jeff Bezos. Already out on Thursday Night Football.
Why is the voice trailing by 30 seconds? Or I can see the picture and then I can hear the score.
Yeah.
What's happening?
If you want more field goals and punting on Thursday night, Jeff Bezos has something for you.
They should actually, instead of having the marketing of the primetime QB1s, it should be the punters.
P1. There you go. Done.
P1s, K1s, here they are. Long snappers. So you launch a new league because there's something wrong, or you feel like, from our perspective, will we be more entertained?
Yeah.
So let's go back, running it back to new sports. It's been tried in football with the USFL and XFL, new rules and new excitement.
Indoor. Take it indoors.
Indoor football, arena football,
Indoor soccer.
Indoor lax. The XFL, they were really trying to change the rules to stimulate more excitement. Extreme football. Some people watched, it had some following, but folks ran out of money. Let's go back outside of traditional sports. And you and I were talking about slam ball.
Mm-hmm.
And most people, if you had that moment, I think it was TBS, TNT, only for a year, but it was basketball court. And in front of the basketball courts were trampolines.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of basketball. You could dribble. It felt like soccer.
It's pretty hard to dribble when you're jumping really high, by the way.
And it felt like football a little bit because you could check. So it was a little bit of hockey. And then you throw the ball in front of the hoop and people were 50 feet in the air going to dunk on each other. It was craziest sport you ever seen.
It's pretty amazing. This is during American Gladiators time. That type of activity was pretty hot.
And around the same time, and never made it onto TV, there might have been an upstart sport that was blooming out of Henderson, Nevada, where there was an all trampoline playing surface that was bigger than a basketball court, smaller than a hockey rink, with walls that are at 45-degree angles. The end of each court were 2 rings vertically rotating.
Yeah.
Where the goal was to either throw a ball through the top of the ring, which had a triangle, or to physically trampoline jump yourself through the ring for 3 points.
Wow.
It had elements of football because you could check.
Right.
It was the passing and playmaking of soccer.
Right.
You could go behind the goal like in hockey.
And if I recall right, there's a motocross element. You're on motorcycles, right?
No, this
No.
is
Oh, okay. This is pre
this
the
is a
motor
all
motocross.
trampoline
Got it.
playing surface.
Yes. And you can propel yourself
You
as
can
the
propel
projectile.
the projectile. 3 points, propel yourself as projectile. 1 point throwing through.
Yeah.
The running was called rouncing, running and bouncing.
Wow.
And I might have spent 6 months creating a playbook and creating the rules for this new sport. And we would bring in athletes from UNLV to try out the sport. I was the early trainer running these guys.
This is in
This
Las
is
Vegas?
2002. Now,
in Las Vegas?
in Las Vegas.
That sounds like fun. I could have used
This sport
could have used an
never
invite.
took off.
Yeah.
But for those of you who have gone to a Sky Zone
Sky Zone.
across the country, the smarter move was to turn the Sky Zone Park into a place where anyone can go and have
It's just trampoline party.
trampoline love and go dunk on people versus a new sport.
Wow.
So, long story to say, why create a new sport? Because you feel like there's an opportunity to give someone something new. So with this,
right. And just real quick, that does tie to the underdog story where Sky Zone, is it called Sky Zone?
if there's a Sky Zone in your area, go check it
Sky
out.
Zone the game. They play to win the game, Tarlin. Sky Zone the game was the Matt Ryan of sports.
That is the worst.
Maybe not. I'm just trying to tie it together.
Do not edit that out.
Got to tie the pieces together.
So what is LIV now? I love the name. Everyone had to look it up. Roman numerals, but also if you over 72 holes, if you get a birdie on every hole, that's 54. But they only play 54 holes, or for 3 days. So they're only playing 18 hole.
18 times 3.
Is
Matthew, in
good,
case you're listening, 18 times 3 is 54.
Can you do that?
Also on an
Can
LIV.
you do that?
Number blocks is serious.
Only 48 people, 48 guys that make the tourney. So less people in the field, less days, massive purses.
Yeah.
And it's a team sport. So
right. And just as a former GMAT instructor, it's fewer. We're gonna leave it in there. But just more a note.
Whatever. Whatever. You remember, you're like 7,000 times smarter than me. The words are used are like, I'm stunted at like 10th grade, and I try to use a bigger word every now and again. You can correct me. Grammar never works. There and there are always tough for me. Affect and affect and effect.
Right.
Putting that when I write it down, I just change the word to something new.
And you did mention grammar. Shout out to
greater than, less than. I still get that flipped in my head.
You mentioned grammar. Shout out to Grandmama, ex-Nick, Larry Johnson, UNLV. You're welcome. Please continue.
I don't even know. This pod may never be released. So back to why we watch. I don't feel it's more golf. It's great. It's more golf with, okay, Phil Mickelson, are you like, you're beyond me caring about you. Dustin Johnson's interesting. Brooks Koepka was always hurt.
Yeah.
Cam Smith.
Beauchambeau, right?
Bryson, but Beauchambeau. Bryson DeChambeau, interesting for a year, but there's no way that the juice can, like, his body's not going to break down after all the stuff he's putting into his body.
Right.
Go do long drive stuff. That's fun.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's just more golf. But what's in it for me, though, with him? Why do I care about this?
Yeah.
Why am I going to watch? It feels like the Senior Open or the Senior Tourney. Senior League? Is that what it's called? The
Champions League?
Champions League. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's euphemism. I'm champion age, so I know these things.
So I'm just dealing with level 1, primary.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care about the teams.
Right.
Just because you put 4 guys together and you're playing a team format.
Yeah.
Okay, there's less days. I'm going to tune into none of the days.
Right.
You got a bunch of guys that, I'm sorry, I don't get to see. I think DJ's fun to watch. Cam Smith, who just won the British Open.
Yeah.
The Pat Perez, I don't think I ever tuned in to watch. Patrick Reed.
Right.
You got a lot of douchebaggery in you.
But they're going to keep trying to peel off golf talent. So it'll also, the flip side is it should be diluting the PGA a little bit, especially.
I know, but we're just starting with
out.
the product. You launch the product.
Right.
Because level 1 is you think that you can draw in more of us to watch.
Yeah. And you're setting me up to, to defend the House of Saud here. So this is good. So this allow me to counter and shout out for any potential sponsors, whether
I want to make sure I'm on the right side of this. Go ahead.
It's El Emirates. You could argue I'm just putting this out there for the sake of argument, that this will increase the quality of our golf highlights, that we'll have more golfers playing on a wider variety of courses, new design stuff that will be built, on top of the Burj Khalifa. How do you pronounce that? The tallest building in the world. There'll be some spectacle to the golf so that our top 10 list from SportsCenter top 10 is going to have occasionally more interesting and or exotic highlights for us. So what's in it for me is at 2 a.m., the kid woke me up. I popped SportsCenter on. There might be a more interesting hole-in-one. Koepka or Rochambeau will drive a par 4 that otherwise wouldn't exist. So I'd say the variety of tableaus, what I see as a sports fan, will be more different. So that is a net positive. But to me, the corruption and the sports washing
No, but don't
supersedes all
go
that.
there. We got to break it down. So for the people, for us as the viewer,
Yeah,
you gave an argument. It's pretty weak. So it's going to
I,
be,
I did think it was good. Thank you.
oh, we're, we're going to say doesn't do a lot. Let's put
Right.
that in the negative column.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the players.
Yeah,
What's in it for them? What's the with them?
right.
At the
Because
end of the
when
day,
you're talking about the players, you're really saying it's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Bryces and the Joes, right?
I mean, I really want to know. I just do you ever want to be in someone's brain and like as they're anticipating saying something, and do they say inside voice or outside voice?
Edit
Should I say
yourself.
this?
I can always edit myself later.
No,
It's a
but I want
rare
you to.
it's a rare opportunity in life.
Peter, I'm hiring Peter back to make sure you cannot do the edit. But Nancy,
Yeah.
you're my people. So for the players, I have a buddy who's hysterical, and he gave his take on why it's good for the players or why it's different. So let's
Mhm.
get into the player world.
Yeah.
One, it's the money. Let's
Yeah.
not even play around with it. And let's not even look at the amount of money that players got just to go to show up. So Dustin Johnson,
Yeah.
over $100 million every year for 3 years. That doesn't include any of the money that he earns. Cam Smith had big money.
Yeah.
Phil, he's 50, whatever. He's not like he got over 75, $100 million as the face of this.
Yeah. And also, look at, I hear what's his name?
Smith?
Cam Smith. I hear he might have hired a stylist. So the mullet might be going.
No.
The
Moulet,
mustache might be a little more
do not.
either
That is
more fully grown in or completely cut off. So
he's
let us know
dope.
what you're doing.
He's dope. So it was an 8 event season. The top 10, the 10th guy, Eugenio Lopez Sakara, made 6.9 million
Yeah.
over 7 events.
Mm.
Let's just look at the top 5 guys. Dustin Johnson, 307 starts in PGA. He earned $74 million over 16 years. He earned $35 million this year.
Yeah.
8 starts.
That's a
Brandon
lot.
Grace.
Yeah.
183 starts, $12 million in his 12-year career. He won $16 million this year.
Yeah.
Peter Uihlein, former amateur champ, 125 starts, $4 million in his 11 years. He won $12.8 million.
And he's only playing 54 holes to do it.
8 starts, 54 holes, you do the math. So my buddy, BC, shout out to BC, he said, 1, and LIV, the caddies actually get to eat. In the PGA Tour, caddies have to eat in another dining room. So now everyone can be together.
Yeah.
2,
So it's pro caddy.
2 rolling start times. Shotgun. Players didn't really even see each other. So there wasn't a lot of camaraderie.
Mhm.
3, if you make a major and you miss the cut, you get no money, but still the league and sponsors still making off your name because,
Yeah.
it's almost like the name, image, and likeness in the
Yeah.
college.
Right.
There's no guaranteed money in PGA. He said, PGA, no music on the driving range.
This is what I was gonna go right here. The amenities, right? Like they're gonna be
There's
hooking.
covers travel costs.
Right.
So the amount of management, these are independent contractors in the PGA. They're
Yeah.
coming out of their own pocket just to make it, and then to miss a cut to make no
Right.
money, and then go to the next.
Catering's got to be better.
3 days instead of 4.
Yeah.
there's 14 events next year instead of 8, instead of the 47 to 50 that PGA.
Sign me
And
up.
then
You
and then
convinced
his
me.
last his last one was general old school stuffiness. So
Yeah.
if you're a player,
Yeah.
what's in it for me
Playa.
and playa, and you're there to provide for your family,
Yeah. I
the
mean,
ability to
you
make
play to win the game, but also to provide for your family.
when you're a golfer,
Yeah.
it's the
It's true.
likelihood of winning is
Right.
so low. So you just want to be Charles Howell III,
Right.
who has, if you look at his career, he just stacks up
Yeah.
making the cut
Yeah.
and making over $1 million for like 20 years. You
Right.
just want to, that's the way you sustain.
Also, no cut, right? I don't know if we
There
mentioned
is no
that.
cut. These guys, the money, the lifestyle, the accommodation, even to be treated, not just like, but to have that stability,
Mhm.
that's intoxicating. What's your take on that?
I think it's true. I think it's true. I mean, there's the whole concept of tradition and institutions, which are very much central to golf's history. So I think there is an argument for staying in the PGA, and I understand the appeal there. But this is why I think eventually we will get to where the source of the money to do this is coming from, because I think a lot of what's happening is ultimately good for golf. I'd say the old school traditions of golf are in some ways a monopoly to innovation. Like they're gonna argue against changing the game ultimately for the good of the game because they are more connected to the history of the game, and that's great because that allows that brand to exist. But the idea that a new brand could evolve some of the mechanics, think differently about its structure, I'm fully supportive of all that. My problem is more where that money is coming from and whether
Hold there.
whether
Hold
it
there. You keep
succeeds
wanting
or
to
not.
jump. Keep wanting to
I
jump.
know. I
Can,
just want to make sure
can we
we're
keep breaking this
qualifying.
down? We're gonna keep,
Please,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
please.
So then check. Better for the players. Not
Yeah.
good for us as the spectators and the viewers and the people who are paying
I,
money.
I'm not as convinced it's that much worse for the spectators, but sure.
But why do I guess I'm saying, why do I care? Why am
Yeah.
I
Right.
this new tourney
Sure.
with B players? Why am I watching
I think
that?
Sunday afternoon, I kind of use it as a backdrop. Volume of the golf might not be on. If it were more on like
It's a great
regular,
way to sleep. Okay.
it was on like regular TV more
Fine.
too.
I'll
But
give you a
even the stream,
medium.
yeah,
I'll
it's
give you a
neutral.
medium. Fine.
Neutral.
Neutral. Check on the player side.
Yeah.
Let's talk about golf in general.
Hmm.
It's creating a little drama.
Yeah.
And so I think there's an attraction, especially the NBA,
Yeah.
because it is a high drama league.
Yeah.
We know that you can bring in fans, even that do not love the game because of the soap opera.
Yeah.
People are talking about NBA players that would never even know Kyrie was already a piece of, and now they know in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, is that the flat earther?
Right.
So drama creates interest
Hmm.
in the sport, and it also creates heroes and villains.
Hmm.
So for me to see someone like a Rory McIlroy, who ascended to number one again, he is only one of 3 guys to have a 10-year gap between the first time hitting number one and being number one. Can you name the other guys?
No.
Tiger Woods and the CEO of the Breakoff.
Greg Norman.
There you go. So love the hero and villain, and love also Rory standing at like being the face of the PGA and then backing
Yeah.
everything up.
If we had WrestleMania, him and Tiger
Oh,
against Phil and Dustin. Dustin's too boring for wrestling. Please continue. Yeah. Yeah.
Dustin's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Kepka and
Kepka.
DeChambeau,
Yeah.
or Beauchambeau, as you like to call him. So I actually, without Tiger, I just say this, and Tiger lover, we've done the
Yeah. Yeah.
ode to Tiger.
Right.
I just don't have the same affinity for the players.
Yeah.
But because of the LIV, you start to see these guys in a different light. The Justin Thomas digs at LIV during his press conference are just must watch.
Yeah.
You're breaking down what is a often traditionally vanilla, staid, like talk to
Conservative.
like, and so I love what the energy and the activity, and it's created a new soap opera in sport. So from a
Yeah. Yeah.
fan interest, not
Hmm.
watch,
Hmm.
I think it's a plus.
Yeah. I would agree. I'm not arguing with that. I think
Okay.
it's interesting because also although it needs a lot of tweaking, anytime you're introducing new rules, like the rules around the teams are way too confusing. They're going to need to continue to tweak the team play because this could become, if it's more akin to the Ryder Cup, I think that could be pretty interesting where the teams are more like, 18 on 18 or 27 on 27. That also adds up to 54 if you're scoring at home. But I think that could be interesting, just like poker. For me, I love poker variants. I like making up house games when you're playing poker, and I do feel like there's too much rigidity in terms of everything is Texas Hold'em nowadays. I like a little variation around the rules, and I think team golf probably isn't all the way there yet. They still need to work on that, but PGA's got to respond to that innovation because PGA is kind of anti-innovation aside from the quality of the equipment.
So let's get to
So
the topic you want to talk about. You want to talk about the money.
show me the money.
PGA traditionally, the purses, their broadcasts, their contracts, their sponsors, that's what's funding all the tournaments. And we'll talk about PGA's response to LIV and their ability to respond and try to up the purse. It's pretty clear where LIV's money is coming from. Saudi, it's Saudi backed.
Mhm.
And so you're open floor since you sports washing,
Yeah,
washing.
yeah.
Is there an issue with having a Saudi backed league? That's my first question. I'll follow up after that.
I would say yes.
And why?
Just because I think taking a stand on human rights violations makes sense, and that's where the players can decide the trade-off for the quality of their money, the cleanliness of the money. There's dirty money everywhere. There, like I just watched this thing about the NBA ref who was fixing games back in the day. Like there's corruption everywhere, so like no one can presume their money is 100% clean. But when your money is pretty much dirty, it is a choice to accept it and then also accept it in a way that makes it okay. Just like doing an ad for a cigarette company or Juul. Greg Norman was coming out with Juul, vaping for seniors as his new money making campaign. We would probably be against that, just like you can also be against Live. That's my answer.
So I fundamentally agree. But is it because you don't have to pierce through the corporate structure to understand where the money is coming from? Because Aramco's tied to LPGA.
Yeah.
China's deep connections to
Yeah.
NBA. There's multiple sponsors in other sports. You're like,
Yeah.
this is not okay. There's an
Yeah.
Aramco series for the LPGA and women's golf that started in
Yeah.
2019, which is Saudi-backed oil.
I
Uh,
love the World Cup, but the World Cup's
right.
so bad.
So I'm just saying, is it because we feel comfortable in other sports not really being able to know what's behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so blatantly a money grab for people who are already overpaid for what they do. So, like,
Who's overpaid? Oh, who's overpaid?
just the amount of effort that granted, if you look at the actual underlying economics for the players, I hear you. They're in terms of the amount of revenue they're generating and how much they're getting paid. I'm saying more in terms of how much effort they're putting in versus there's the idea of contributive justice, right? Like, how much am I improving the world through what I'm doing, and how much
They
am I getting
supposedly give
paid back?
millions of dollars to every
For sure,
in
for
charities,
sure.
where they're in
But
Portland and
I would
they're
just,
just giving money
yeah,
to contribute.
I guess
So
my,
that's why we have to break it down.
Mhm.
Like, from a player perspective,
Yeah,
I personally would not go to the Live League. But
yeah,
if you're thinking about putting money on your table and
yeah,
life changing, especially since you and I, we always go in for Powerball and we just missed, even though the
same.
winning ticket was in not far from where I live. So I
Oh,
drove around to various locations just
yeah,
trying to spread out the love in LA, Southern
right,
Cal, but it didn't work
right.
out.
The deli owners know you. Yeah, yeah.
So it's a very one of the best examples, and we talked about Kobe recently. Kobe in 2003
Mhm,
was put on trial for raping a 19-year-old
mhm.
in a hotel room in Denver. She never testified. Kobe despite the shame, was never convicted. And I read an article recently that said, and despite that, in 2003, Kobe passed, we all revered Kobe, and we just talked about the Redeem Team.
Yeah.
He left on high and with the tagline "Girl Dad."
Yeah. Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
just for the players,
Mm-hmm.
is their reputation tarnished because they decide to go play in another league where they can make life-changing money and
Yeah.
potentially not be sitting on the road for 50 days a year in motels, hoping they can go play,
Yeah.
make the cut, and make some money back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in terms of the talent pool, I think it makes sense at the bottom end. You were talking about Matt Ryan earlier, the Matt Ryans of golf. If they can get a deal with Liv, they should probably go there, because rather than try to break in the austere legacy organization, you can earn life-changing money now at this startup, thinking about more the broader culture that's happening. But I think the flip side is FTX was a startup. Did you want to actually get a job there to get that fast money, where that fast money can disappear
What happened to FTX?
and sell?
Oh,
Did you get
shoot.
that sell order in on you? Open up Robinhood. I'll walk you through it.
Okay. Can we do that after this? Okay.
Yeah. But like, fast money disappears fast and old money sticks around for a while. So if you can survive in the old money institution that is the PGA, that will likely survive all of this. It's unlikely that the new something will completely supplant what is currently the PGA. So if you're still winning the Masters, or you can contend, make the cut at the Masters on your own every year, you may or may not need to go to Live. If you're struggling to get by as a pro and you have an entry point into Live, you should absolutely go at that level. Completely
So,
understand that.
so I think we're agreeing. I hate agreeing with you. I would never make the choice.
We disagreed earlier. It's fine.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But let's end with what the impact is.
Yeah.
And competition is great.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you
When
to analogize this to business, where you got the
when
startup coming in.
when it's a monopolistic
Yeah.
environment, no one has leverage.
Yeah.
So the players didn't have leverage, and there's
Mhm.
claims that they started a PIP, so the special bonus for those players who are driving outsized viewership to PGA over the last couple of years.
Mhm.
They started to raise the purses a little bit, but what Liv has done is substantially change the economics for new players, especially some of the younger players.
Right.
And it almost is what you're starting to see in collective bargaining in NBA, in the NFL. With PGA, it's not a collective group. As independent contractors, they didn't have the same power. But now, $500,000 a year, that's just
Mhm.
the floor for every
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
You have the top college players are now get their
Mm.
card instead of having to scramble through
Yeah.
Q schools and playing all over the place.
Yeah.
And they also start earning points.
Mhm.
The purses, there was an article looking at the purses. If Jim Furyk, who made millions of dollars,
Yeah.
was on the PGA Tour, he'd make, starting now and played the same 17-year career, he'd make almost 6 times what he made. Jim Furyk made $98 million in his playing career.
Mhm.
If he started today with his same career, they estimate he'd make $620 million
Yeah. Yeah.
because the purses are rising. They're
Mhm.
trying to take care of not only the top players, but trying to take care of the middle and the newer players. From a
PGA is
competitive,
responding. Yes. Got
they're
it.
responding, and competition is great.
Mm.
Everyone's saying they need to figure out how to come together. The AFL and NFL were both strong entities, and they
Yeah.
came together because it was a better product. The NBA and ABA were
Mhm.
floundering.
Yeah.
So that was a merger because they
Mhm.
were floundering. NHL and WHA, World Hockey Association, came together, same issue.
Mhm.
So PGA is still in a position of strength, not sure why they would concede
Right.
or look for ways to, what's the word, come together. They cooperate or
Negotiate.
figure it out. No, but
Come to an
together, you're
agreement.
both in this.
Reach some rapprochement.
There it is. That's what I was trying to say. So I just believe in most organizations, companies that have no one to respond to or answer to, it takes an outside force and competition for you to change.
Mhm.
So I like you asked from a business perspective, I like what's happening.
Yeah.
Now, it makes it better for the players.
Yep.
We don't have to, hopefully, be focused on a league that's getting their money. It's funded by the Saudis.
Yeah.
You hope that you start to have more players then invested in being a part of the key tournaments, because we've had some issues with players not being in in all the major tournaments. My hope is at some point they'll negotiate. I feel like there'll be a bleeding, or maybe Liv's still there and they figure out at some point. But it propped up a staid organization that did not really need to change in the PGA, which creates bigger purses, more excitement, more players are going to play, not opting out. And so I think it makes the product better. Now, I say that, and the last thing I'll say is the PGA still has some issues. The last tournament saw a 60% decline in viewership
Mm.
and 100,000 views on LIV on YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's still an issue. They're going to throw out more money.
Yeah.
The Tiger effect is gone. I think Rory is a presence, but I love when in monopolistic or even duopolistic environment, the companies have to respond.
Yeah.
Because in responding, it not only helps the players, but all helps us as the viewers, because it means that we're going to get a better product.
Absolutely. Interesting conversation. Be on the lookout for more from us on Running It Back. Also be on the lookout for maybe trampoline golf. You propel yourself through the hole, you subtract a stroke. Who knows? Innovation is ultimately good, but you always got to follow the money. Sometimes it's too dirty to take, but sometimes you just got to do what you just got to do, Tarlin. I don't know. I think what our listeners got to do is subscribe. They got to tell their friends. They got to listen to Running It Back. Thanks as always for your service, my friend.
Next time, we're going to talk about Justin Fields. And for those who remember our draft, NFL draft coverage, we need to talk about a player that fell in the draft and is climbing because the coach is letting him do him. More to come.
More to come, indeed. Thanks as always for listening. Remember to subscribe, let folks know about the podcast. We'll be back soon to talk Justin Fields and who knows what else. This is Running It Back.